In a world where power often makes leaders forget their roots, there comes a story so powerful, so human, that it restores our faith in true leadership. This is the story of Ibrahim Traoré, the youngest president in the world, and the day he saved the man who once shaped his future, his old teacher. Years before the world knew his name, Ibrahim was just a boy in a small, dusty town in Burkina Faso. His family was not wealthy, and his future seemed uncertain. Yet in the middle of poverty and struggle, one person saw something special in him, his school teacher. The teacher was strict but kind, poor but proud, and above all, deeply committed to his students. He would often say, "Books are the real weapons for freedom." Those words etched themselves in Ibrahim's heart. The teacher gave Ibrahim more than lessons. He gave him belief. When others laughed at the idea that a boy from a struggling family could become anything, the teacher encouraged him, "Work hard, stay disciplined, and you will rise." Those words became Ibrahim's compass, guiding him through his teenage years, through military training, and eventually through the corridors of power. Time passed, and the student became a soldier. The soldier became a captain. The captain became a president. In 2022, at just 34, Ibrahim Traoré rose to lead Burkina Faso, making headlines around the world. But amidst the chaos of politics, war, and global pressure, he never forgot the man who once stood at the blackboard, chalk in hand, shaping his destiny. One day, Ibrahim received news that shook him more than any political threat. His old teacher had fallen gravely ill. He was living alone, without proper care, in the same small village where he had once taught hundreds of children. Poverty had consumed him, and his family struggled to afford medicine. Despite dedicating his life to shaping the minds of the future, the teacher had been forgotten by society. But not by Ibrahim. The moment the president heard, he made a decision. Not as a politician, not as a commander, but as a student, repaying a debt of gratitude. Without fanfare, without media cameras, he sent his personal team to bring his teacher to the capital. The old man, frail and weak, was stunned when he saw the presidential guards at his door. At first, he thought it was a mistake. But then he heard the words, "President Traoré has sent us. He says, I owe my success to him." The teacher broke down in tears. When he arrived at the presidential residence, Ibrahim Traoré did not stand tall as a leader. He knelt before his old teacher, holding his hands gently, just as a son would hold his father's hands. He said softly, "Sir, without you, I would not be here. You taught me to believe, and today I am here to make sure you are never forgotten." Doctors were immediately called. The teacher was given the best medical care, comfortable housing, and all the support he needed. But more than medicine, what healed him most was the respect, the recognition, the love from a student who had never forgotten him. For days, the story spread across Burkina Faso like wildfire. People could hardly believe it. A president, a man with so much power, choosing to prioritize an old teacher? In a world where leaders often build statues of themselves, Traoré chose instead to honor the man who built his character. The emotional reunion struck a chord not only with Burkina-Faso citizens, but across Africa. Teachers cried, parents felt hope, and young people felt inspired. It became more than a personal story. It became a symbol, a reminder that true leadership is not about palaces, not about wealth, not about power. It is about humanity, loyalty, and gratitude. The teacher, once forgotten, now lived with dignity. He told visitors, "I only taught him the alphabet, but today he is teaching the world the meaning of respect." His words became legendary, repeated in villages and schools across the nation. And Ibrahim? He continued to face challenges, terrorism, foreign pressure, economic struggles. But in the eyes of his people, he had already won the greatest battle, the battle for their hearts. By honoring his teacher, he proved that he would honor the nation. The story of Ibrahim Traoré saving his teacher is more than just a tale of kindness. It is a lesson for the world. Too often, we forget the people who shape us, the mentors, the guides, the unsung heroes who make us who we are. Traoré's act reminds us that no matter how high we rise, we must never forget where we came from. It also speaks directly to Africa's youth. Millions of African youth see in Traoré a mirror of themselves. Once a student, once a dreamer, now a leader. His respect for his teacher is proof that humility and gratitude are not weaknesses, but strengths that define true greatness. Today, whenever he speaks to the nation, people don't just see a president. They see a student who still carries the lessons of his teacher. They see a leader who has not let power erase his humanity. And they see hope, a hope that the future of Africa lies not in forgetting, but in remembering. As the teacher once said, books are the real weapons for freedom. And perhaps through his student, those words have finally come true. Because Ibrahim Traoré didn't just save his old teacher, he saved the dignity of teaching itself. In the end, history will not only remember Traoré for his politics or his policies, it will remember him for this one act of humanity, for showing the world that leadership is not about commanding respect, but about giving it, and for proving that the greatest revolution begins not on the battlefield, but in the classroom. And so, the boy who once sat in a dusty classroom, staring at a chalkboard, grew up to become the president who honored his teacher. A circle completed, a lesson in humanity, a story the world will never forget. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Share it, because the world needs more leaders who never forget their roots. What do you think? Would the world be different if more presidents honored their teachers like Ibrahim Traoré? Let me know in the comments. And if you believe in stories that inspire change, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss the next one. Together, let's spread hope, dignity, and the power of gratitude across the world.